This bizarre discovery shocked scientists, but what came next left them even more stunned. A group of boys hunting for rabbits on Arthur's Seat, the rocky hill that looms over Edinburgh, stumbled upon something eerie. Hidden inside a small cave, stacked neatly in rows, were 17 miniature coffins. Each was about 4 inches long, made of wood, and contained a tiny, fully dressed human figure. The boys, startled by their discovery, reportedly destroyed some of the coffins before adults took notice. The surviving ones have puzzled researchers for nearly 2 centuries. Who placed them there, and why? Some believe the coffins were part of a forgotten ritual, possibly linked to witchcraft or an ancient burial practice. Others have suggested a more chilling theory. The discovery came just a few years after the infamous Burke and Hare murders, when 2 men killed 16 people in Edinburgh and sold the bodies to a medical school. Could these tiny figures be symbolic burials for their victims, an attempt to grant them peace in death? Tests on the wood revealed that the coffins were likely placed there over several decades, meaning the maker may have returned to the spot again and again to add more. Some figures were dressed in clothes stitched from fabric that had already started to decay, suggesting they were old before being sealed inside their tiny tombs. The attention to detail is unsettling. Someone cared enough to carve these figures, dress them, and carefully place them in their final resting place. But no records, no confessions, and no clear evidence have ever revealed the truth. Scattered across ancient Mesoamerican ruins, strange circular stone rings have left archaeologists questioning their true purpose. These rings, often mounted high on temple walls or freestanding in ceremonial sites, are commonly thought to be remnants of the ancient Mesoamerican ballgame. But some researchers believe there's more to them than just sport. Theories have emerged suggesting that these structures may have had an entirely different function, one tied to energy, sound, and possibly even something more mysterious. Unlike typical game equipment, some of these rings seem oddly placed, positioned in ways that make their use in a ballgame nearly impossible. Their precise symmetry in the materials used, limestone, granite, and even traces of mica, have raised suspicions that they could have been part of an unknown technology. Mica, a mineral with insulating properties, has been found in other Mesoamerican sites, including the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan. Could these rings have been used to channel energy, perhaps even working in conjunction with the pyramids themselves? Some researchers have tested the acoustic properties of these rings and found that they amplify sound in ways that seem too intentional to be a coincidence. Chanting, clapping, or even the natural sounds of wind passing through them create eerie resonances, almost like an ancient sound system designed to amplify ritualistic voices or messages. This raises even more questions. Were they instruments of communication, ritual devices, or something entirely different? For decades, the vast desert plains of southern Peru have concealed one of history's most puzzling mysteries: the Nazca Lines. Massive figures of animals, humanoid shapes, and geometric patterns stretch across the arid landscape, some spanning over 600 feet. They can only be fully seen from above, leading to endless speculation about how and why they were created. And just when researchers thought they had mapped them all, modern technology revealed something astonishing. In recent years, artificial intelligence and high-resolution drone imaging uncovered over 160 new geoglyphs hidden beneath layers of sand and erosion. These newly found carvings are smaller than the famous Nazca figures, but just as detailed, depicting unknown creatures, birds, and twisted humanoid figures with exaggerated limbs. Some designs don't match any known iconography of the Nazca culture, raising the question, who created them? Some of these figures seem deliberately placed in hard-to-spot areas, as if meant to be seen only from certain angles or under specific conditions. The level of precision and scale involved in their creation suggests knowledge of advanced surveying techniques, yet they were made long before modern tools existed. Theories range from religious or astronomical significance to messages for the gods, or something else entirely. The most haunting thought? There may still be hundreds more waiting to be uncovered, slowly fading beneath centuries of dust. And this isn't the only place where something massive and forgotten has just been brought to light. Thousands of miles away, deep within Mexico's jungles, another lost wonder is finally emerging. For centuries, the ruins of Maya civilization have been swallowed by thick jungle, their stone temples overtaken by roots and vines. Many ancient cities remain undiscovered, hidden beneath layers of foliage. But in 2024, a breakthrough came with the discovery of Valeriana, an unknown Maya city in the heart of Mexico's Campeche region. Using LIDAR technology, a scanning method that cuts through dense vegetation, archaeologists uncovered over 6,500 structures including towering pyramids, plazas, and a massive ceremonial complex. This wasn't just a small settlement, it was a major political and cultural center, one that had been completely forgotten. Unlike other Maya sites, Valeriana's layout suggests a unique architectural style not commonly found in the region. Its structures align with celestial patterns, hinting at a deep connection between the city's builders and the stars. Strangely, no records mention Valeriana in known Maya texts, and researchers are still unsure why such a significant city vanished. Some speculate war, drought, or an internal collapse. Others believe the answers may still be buried beneath the jungle, locked inside temples and tunnels yet to be explored. With so much still unknown, the discovery of Valeriana raises an unsettling thought. If a city of this scale remained undetected until now, what else is still hiding, waiting to be found? Perhaps some of those secrets are not buried in forests but deep beneath the desert sands of Egypt, where a lost tomb of a forgotten pharaoh has finally been unearthed. The deserts of Egypt have long concealed secrets of the past, and just when it seemed that all the great pharaohs' tombs had been found, something remarkable emerged from the sands. In early 2025, archaeologists uncovered the long-lost tomb of Pharaoh Thutmose II, a ruler of Egypt's 18th dynasty whose final resting place had remained a mystery for centuries. Hidden in a remote section of the Theban necropolis, the tomb's entrance had been sealed for over 3,000 years, untouched by looters or explorers. Inside, researchers discovered crumbling wall carvings, faded but still depicting the king's reign, rituals, and celestial journey into the afterlife. But something was missing: Thutmose II himself. His sarcophagus was there, but it was empty. The discovery raises more questions than answers. Thutmose II ruled for only a short time, overshadowed by his wife Hatshepsut, who later declared herself pharaoh. His mummy had previously been found in the 19th century, among a collection of royal remains hastily relocated in ancient times. But why had his original tomb been abandoned? Some scholars believe political struggles may have led to its desecration, while others think priests deliberately moved his body to protect it. The artifacts found inside, ceremonial weapons, jewelry, and inscribed vases, suggest an elaborate burial, one meant for a ruler of great significance. Yet the lack of his remains leaves a sense of something unfinished, a story still waiting to be pieced together. Egypt may hold many more undiscovered royal tombs, but mysterious artifacts are not only found in ancient tombs. Some are hiding in unexpected places, like the remote wilderness of Australia, where strange carvings could rewrite history. In a secluded part of the Australian bush, deep among the sandstone formations of the Hunter Valley, an unsettling discovery continues to puzzle researchers. The Gosford glyphs, as they are known, are a series of strange carvings etched into rock, carvings that bear an uncanny resemblance to Egyptian hieroglyphs. Some believe these markings, which appear to show pharaohs, boats, and symbols of the afterlife, are evidence of ancient Egyptian contact with Australia, a possibility that challenges everything we know about early exploration. If real, it would mean seafarers from the Nile made the treacherous journey across the ocean thousands of years ago, long before Europeans ever set foot on the continent. Skeptics argue that the glyphs are a hoax, carved in modern times, but geologists have examined the weathering on the carvings and found that some markings appear significantly older than previously thought. If they are genuine, then who created them? Could an unknown civilization have left behind traces of a lost language? Could shipwrecked travelers from ancient Egypt have found themselves stranded in this land and left their story behind in stone? The truth remains buried beneath layers of time, and until new evidence emerges, the Gosford glyphs remain one of the most controversial and unexplainable discoveries in Australia's history. Yet they are not the only ancient markings that defy explanation. Deep in the rocky cliffs of Texas, a 4,000-year-old painting stretches across the walls of a shallow cave, its faded pigments still holding on to a mystery that refuses to fade. The White Shaman mural, one of the most enigmatic rock art sites in North America, depicts strange humanoid figures with elongated bodies, outstretched arms, and hollow eyes. Some appear to be floating, surrounded by swirling lines and symbols. Researchers have long debated its meaning. Was it an early form of storytelling, a vision of gods, or something else entirely? The local Huichol people believe the mural represents a shaman's journey between worlds, a spiritual vision recorded in stone. But others have noticed eerie similarities between these figures and modern descriptions of extraterrestrials. The tall, otherworldly shapes resemble beings seen in ancient cave art across the world, from Australia to Africa. Some researchers suggest the mural depicts an encounter, one where ancient people witnessed something they couldn't understand, and painted it the only way they knew how. The mural's placement, hidden within a rugged canyon, and its alignment with celestial events only add to the mystery. Were these figures gods, spirits, or visitors from beyond? No one knows for sure, but just as the White Shaman mural raises questions about strange beings in the past, a shocking discovery in Wyoming suggests something equally bizarre, this time in the form of an unexplainable mummy. High up in Wyoming's San Pedro Mountains, two gold prospectors made a discovery that defied logic. Inside a small cave sealed behind a thick wall of rock, they found a tiny mummified body, sitting upright as if watching them. The figure was no more than 14 inches tall, with a strangely shaped skull, flattened nose, and deep, lifeless eyes. At first, some believed it was a hoax or the remains of an infant, but X-ray scans revealed something shocking. This was no ordinary child. The skeleton had fully formed adult features, including a complete set of teeth. Some experts estimated that if alive, the being would have stood barely 2 feet tall. Local Native American legends speak of tiny people known as the Nemerigar, who lived in the mountains and were said to be fierce warriors. Could this mummy be proof that the legends were real? Some researchers have suggested that the remains belong to an individual with a rare genetic condition, but the body's perfectly preserved state and unusual bone structure challenge that explanation. Adding to the mystery, the mummy vanished from public view after being privately owned for years, leaving only X-rays and photographs as evidence of its existence. What exactly was found in that cave? Was it an unknown species, an ancient deformity, or something stranger? Without the original remains to study, the truth may never be known. But mysterious beings, whether painted on cave walls or sealed in stone tombs, are not the only baffling discoveries. Sometimes it's not a body that raises questions, but a structure itself, built by unknown hands for a purpose no one can explain. Deep in the rolling hills of Ohio, a massive winding mound stretches nearly 1,300 feet across the landscape. Its sinuous curves resemble a serpent uncoiling, its head pointing toward the setting sun on the summer solstice. The Great Serpent Mound is one of the most mysterious earthworks in North America, built thousands of years ago. But by whom and why remains an open question. Unlike burial mounds scattered across the Midwest, this structure contains no human remains. Its builders left no written records, no inscriptions, no clear evidence of its true purpose. For years, archaeologists debated its origins. Some believed the Adena people who lived in the area around 800 BC created it. Others pointed to the later Fort Ancient culture around 1000 AD, but radiocarbon dating has yielded conflicting results, leaving its exact age uncertain. Some researchers believe the mound aligns with celestial events, possibly marking eclipses or tracking planetary movements. Others suggest it was a site for spiritual ceremonies or an offering to a snake deity. Theories have even ventured into the realm of the unexplained. Was it meant to be seen from above, designed for watchers in the sky? The mystery deepens when considering similar serpent effigies found in different parts of the world, suggesting a lost connection between ancient cultures. Though the mound remains intact, time has eroded the clues that could explain its true meaning. Scientists continue to search for answers, but for now, the Great Serpent Mound keeps its secrets buried in the earth. However, some structures aren't buried at all. Some lie hidden beneath the water, unseen for centuries. And in the depths of Lake Michigan, one of the most baffling underwater discoveries has just begun to reveal itself. Beneath the cold, dark waters of Lake Michigan, divers stumbled upon something unexpected, a ring of large stones arranged in a pattern eerily similar to England's Stonehenge. Resting about 40 feet below the surface, the formation had gone unnoticed for centuries, hidden by sediment in the lake's murky depths. But the discovery didn't end there. Among the stones, researchers found something even stranger, a single rock carved with what appears to be an image of a mastodon, an animal that went extinct over 10,000 years ago. If this engraving is genuine, it means the stones were arranged by a civilization that existed during the last ice age, long before recorded history. Who could have built it? What purpose did it serve? Some theorists suggest it was a ceremonial site, a sacred place used by ancient North American cultures for unknown rituals. Others wonder if it could be linked to the countless shipwrecks and legends that surround Lake Michigan. Stories of disappearances, ghost ships, and the so-called Lake Michigan Triangle. Scientists are still studying the site, but investigating underwater structures is no easy task. Unlike land-based ruins, these stones are difficult to access, and shifting sands could be hiding even more secrets. Could this submerged site be evidence of an advanced prehistoric culture? Or is it part of a natural formation mistaken for something man-made? Until more research is done, the answer remains as murky as the waters that conceal it. But one thing is certain: ancient structures, whether buried in the earth or hidden beneath the waves, continue to challenge our understanding of history. And some, like those found in a remote valley in Siberia, may not be ruins at all, but something far stranger. In the remote, desolate wilderness of Yakutia, Siberia, strange metallic structures lie hidden beneath the swampy terrain. Known as the Valley of Death, this region has been the source of chilling legends for centuries. Local hunters and nomadic tribes speak of giant metal cauldrons partially buried in the permafrost, smooth, rounded domes that seem impossibly advanced for their supposed age. Some who have ventured too close claim to have fallen sick afterward, their bodies mysteriously weakened as if the ground itself was radiating an unseen force. The first recorded stories of these structures date back to the 19th century, but they've existed in local folklore for much longer. Some believe the cauldrons are remnants of an ancient weapon system, possibly built by a lost civilization to defend against unknown threats. Others suggest they're connected to something even more bizarre: evidence of extraterrestrial activity. There are accounts of glowing lights and unusual aerial phenomena in the skies above this region, leading some to theorize that these metal domes are linked to UFOs, possibly serving as landing sites or power sources. Attempts to study the cauldrons have been met with frustration. Over the years, multiple expeditions have tried to locate them, but the landscape seems to shift. Some structures that were reported decades ago can no longer be found. Some researchers believe they may have sunk deeper into the marshland, swallowed by time and nature. With permafrost melting due to climate changes, new discoveries could soon emerge. Until then, the Valley of Death remains one of Siberia's greatest unsolved mysteries. But this isn't the only enigmatic metal artifact found in ancient history. Thousands of miles away in China, mysterious jade discs continue to defy explanation. Over 5,000 years ago, long before the rise of Imperial China, an unknown culture crafted hundreds of perfectly carved jade discs. Known as Bai discs, these circular artifacts have been unearthed from burial sites dating back to the Neolithic period. Some are simple and unadorned, while others are covered in intricate carvings, often depicting serpent-like creatures or celestial symbols. The purpose of these discs remains completely unknown. What makes these artifacts so strange is the level of craftsmanship involved. Jade is an incredibly hard stone, difficult to shape even with modern tools. Yet these ancient artisans, who had no access to metal chisels, managed to cut and polish the discs into nearly perfect circles. The precision is almost unnatural, as if whoever made them possessed an understanding of engineering beyond what should have been possible at the time. Even more baffling is the fact that no texts from early China mention their exact purpose. Were they used for ritualistic ceremonies? Were they symbols of power? Or could they have had a more technological function, perhaps even a connection to the sky? Some researchers have drawn comparisons between the Bai discs and similar circular objects found in other ancient cultures, such as the stone rings of Mesoamerica. Theorists have suggested that these jade artifacts may have represented gateways to another world, possibly linked to celestial beings worshipped by early civilizations. There's even speculation that the Bai discs were modeled after something seen in the sky, flying objects, divine wheels, or unknown energy sources. Without written records, their true purpose remains buried in the past. But their discovery forces us to ask, how did an ancient society create such perfect, polished jade objects with tools that should not have been advanced enough? What knowledge did they possess that we no longer understand? In Sichuan, China, archaeologists uncovered something that defied everything known about ancient Chinese civilization: massive golden masks with exaggerated alien-like features. These relics, found in the Sangxingdui ruins, date back at least 3,000 years, belonging to an unknown culture that left behind no written records. The masks are unlike anything from other Chinese dynasties. They have huge, staring eyes, elongated ears, and unnaturally wide faces, looking more like something from another planet than traditional Chinese art. Some of the eyes are bulging and extended, as if trying to depict a being with a non-human perspective. This has led to wild speculation. Were these masks inspired by something real? Something that these ancient people actually saw? Some believe they depict gods or mythological beings, while others suggest something even stranger, evidence of early extraterrestrial encounters. Adding to the mystery, the Sangsing-Dui civilization completely vanished. No one knows why. They left behind massive, intricate artifacts, but no clues as to where they went. The discovery of these masks challenges the idea that China's earliest cultures were isolated. Could they have had contact with an unknown force? One thing is certain, the Sangsing-Dui civilization had advanced craftsmanship, an artistic vision far beyond its time, and an obsession with strange, otherworldly faces. What inspired them, and what else remains buried beneath the earth, waiting to change history again? A group of researchers exploring Mount Owen in New Zealand made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Deep within the dark, ancient cave, they uncovered something that should not have been there. A massive, perfectly preserved claw, complete with flesh, muscle, and scales. At first, they thought it belonged to a recently deceased creature. But testing revealed something shocking. The claw was over 3,300 years old. It had belonged to the upland moa, a prehistoric bird thought to have gone extinct long before recorded history. This find raised a chilling question. How was it so well preserved? Moas were flightless, towering birds related to ostriches and emus, but with one key difference. They were believed to have vanished long before humans ever arrived in New Zealand. Yet the claw looked fresh, almost as if the creature had died only a few years earlier. Some even speculated, could small populations of these prehistoric giants have survived much longer than we thought? And if so, could there be other long-extinct creatures still lurking in the unexplored caves, forests, and depths of our world? Deep beneath the ancient city of Teotihuacan, hidden for thousands of years, lies a tunnel that has left archaeologists puzzled. It was discovered by chance when researchers noticed a strange sinkhole near the Temple of the Feathered Serpent. What they found underneath was astonishing. A vast underground passage stretching over 330 feet, sealed off by the people who built it. The tunnel was filled with thousands of artifacts, from golden spheres to intricate statues, but the most shocking find was something unexpected: liquid mercury. The presence of mercury has sparked theories that this chamber was something far more than a burial site. In Mesoamerican cultures, mercury was associated with the gods, often believed to represent rivers of the underworld. Some researchers believe this could be a symbolic representation of an ancient portal between worlds. Others suggest that whoever built this place understood something we don't. Maybe mercury had a technological purpose. Some have even linked it to ancient energy sources or lost knowledge. Teotihuacan itself remains an enigma. No one knows who built it, and no writings from its creators have been found. Despite its massive pyramids and advanced urban planning, the city was mysteriously abandoned. Some believe the tunnels beneath Teotihuacan were more than ceremonial. Could they have been part of an unknown technology, something erased from history? The more we uncover, the more questions arise. As researchers explored the tunnels beneath Teotihuacan, they uncovered more than just artifacts. What they found hinted at something even stranger. Based on skeletal remains and ancient carvings, scientists created a digital reconstruction of the people who may have built these underground chambers. The results were unsettling. These figures had elongated heads, thin frames, and large dark eyes. Could this be proof of a forgotten race? Or were these beings something else entirely? There are no answers yet. On a remote island in the Russian Arctic, a series of strange stone labyrinths have puzzled researchers for decades. These spiral-like formations, built from thousands of small stones, cover Bolshoi Zayatsky Island. There are no historical records explaining who built them or why, yet they remain eerily intact despite the harsh climate. Some archaeologists believe they date back at least 3,000 years, while local legends whisper of an ancient civilization that vanished without a trace. What makes these structures truly mysterious is their precision and purpose. The labyrinths do not appear to be simple pathways. Some researchers suggest they were used for ritualistic or astronomical purposes, while others believe they served as energy conductors or even ancient star maps. Even more puzzling, Similar labyrinths have been found in Scandinavia and the Mediterranean, raising questions about a possible shared ancient knowledge that connected civilizations across vast distances. Yet there is something unsettling about these formations. Locals claim they hold a strange energy, and some visitors report feeling dizzy or disoriented when walking through them. Did an advanced, forgotten civilization construct these mysterious spirals? And if so, what knowledge did they possess that has been lost to time? Amid Greece's ancient ruins, overshadowed by grand temples and monuments, stands a structure that defies expectations: the Pyramid of Hellinikon, a megalithic stone formation that few outside the region even know exists. Unlike the famous pyramids of Egypt, this one is built from rough-hewn limestone blocks, stacked with an unusual level of precision. But here's where the mystery begins. Its age is uncertain. Some estimates place it at the 4th century BCE, but others suggest it could be thousands of years older, predating even the Great Pyramid of Giza. There are no clear records of who built it, and its purpose remains unknown. Some theorists speculate it was an ancient fortress. Others believe it was a burial site for an elite ruling class. But the construction raises questions. Its design is unlike anything else in Greek architecture, bearing similarities to pyramidal structures found in South America and even China. Could this be evidence of an ancient civilization with shared knowledge across continents? Or was it part of a lost Greek tradition erased from history? The enigma of Hellinikon remains, hidden in plain sight. Yet some believe the answers to Earth's oldest mysteries aren't just buried beneath ruins, but imprinted in the very landscapes we walk upon. If ancient civilizations thrived long before recorded history, then what kind of beings once roamed this planet? That brings us to an even stranger mystery, one that challenges the very timeline of human existence. Deep in the wilderness of Mpumalanga, South Africa, carved into a granite rock face, lies something that seems impossible: a giant human-like footprint over 4 feet long. Locals have known about it for generations, calling it the footprint of God. To this day, geologists and researchers remain divided on its origins. How could such an imprint exist in solid granite, a material that takes millions of years to harden? Mainstream science argues that the footprint could be a natural formation, shaped by erosion over time. But others believe something much stranger. Could this be proof of prehistoric giants? Ancient texts from cultures across the world speak of towering beings that once walked the earth. Myths? Perhaps. But when standing before this massive print, the lines, the shape, the depth, it looks eerily real. If it was made by a living being, what kind of creature left it behind? The mystery grows deeper when considering other unexplained discoveries. Massive tools, oversized bones, and legends passed down for centuries. Did an ancient race of giants exist long before our known civilizations? If so, where did they go? Could they have vanished, like so many forgotten cultures, leaving behind only faint traces of their existence? Or are we looking at something beyond our understanding? And then, there are the artifacts. Objects found where they shouldn't be, inscribed with symbols no one can decipher. One of these mysteries lies in France, an ancient script, carved into stone tablets with no known origin. In 1924, a French farmer plowing his field near Glozelle stumbled upon something that would puzzle archaeologists for decades: a collection of strange inscribed tablets, unlike anything found before. These stones, along with hundreds of other artifacts, were buried beneath the soil, covered in symbols that bore no resemblance to any known ancient script. The moment they were unearthed, controversy erupted. Were they real, or an elaborate hoax? Some experts dismissed them outright, claiming no civilization should have existed in that area thousands of years ago. But as more pieces surfaced, ceramic statues, bone tools, and carved tablets, skepticism began to fade. The inscriptions didn't match any known language, but they also didn't seem random. Some scholars noted eerie similarities to ancient Phoenician, Iberian, and even Proto-Cretan scripts, suggesting an entirely unknown civilization might have once thrived in Europe, long before recorded history. The more questions arose, the deeper the mystery became. Carbon dating suggested the site could be 12,000 years old, pushing its origins deep into the last ice age. Who were the people who left these messages behind? What was their fate? Were they wiped out by time, or could remnants of their knowledge have survived in ways we don't yet understand? The Glozell tablets remain an unsolved mystery, a whisper from a forgotten past waiting to be deciphered. But not all ancient secrets are hidden beneath the earth. Some are buried in the very walls of the structures left behind. Some hold secrets that we can still feel, vibrating through stone, echoing through time. On the island of Malta, beneath layers of rock and earth, lies a structure unlike any other in the world. The Hypogeum of Halsaflieni, an underground temple, a necropolis, or something else entirely. Carved into solid limestone thousands of years ago, it consists of winding corridors, burial chambers, and massive underground halls, all precisely cut with techniques that still leave experts scratching their heads. But the most unsettling discovery wasn't its construction, it was the sound. One chamber, known as the Oracle Room, possesses bizarre acoustic properties. Any sound made inside amplifies and resonates at a strange frequency, one that has been shown to affect human brain activity. Some researchers suggest it was designed for rituals that altered consciousness, creating trance-like states. Others believe it could have been a form of ancient sound technology, a lost knowledge that modern science has yet to understand. Then, there are the skeletons. Early excavations revealed thousands of remains, some with elongated skulls, unlike the typical Maltese population. Reports of these skulls quickly disappeared, and some claim they were deliberately hidden. Who were these people? Were they an isolated group with unique genetic traits? Or could they have been something more? Some have linked them to Neolithic engineers with advanced knowledge, while more extreme theories suggest an even greater mystery, one connected to an unknown race that once walked the earth. Rising from the landscape of Wyoming, Devil's Tower stands as a perfectly cylindrical monolith, its vertical columns unlike anything else in nature. Officially, geologists explain it as a volcanic formation, but not everyone is convinced. Some believe this towering structure, standing nearly 900 feet tall, is something far stranger, a petrified remnant of a prehistoric giant tree. Look closer at its structure, the hexagonal columns, the smooth, almost unnatural surface. It doesn't resemble a volcano at all. Instead, it looks eerily similar to a massive tree stump, as if something once stood here, impossibly large, then was suddenly cut down. Could it be that millions of years ago, Earth was covered with titanic trees far beyond anything we know today? Legends from cultures around the world speak of a time when the planet was home to massive, sky-reaching forests, before something or someone destroyed them. And then there's the lack of debris. If Devil's Tower was formed by erosion, where is all the missing rock? Could the tree theory hold some truth? Or is it possible that this place was shaped by something far older than human civilization, something we don't yet understand? Some researchers believe our world may have once looked completely different, a landscape shaped by forces we can barely comprehend. And if Earth's past is more complex than we thought, what else has been lost in time? To answer that, we turn to something even more baffling, a map so advanced that it shouldn't exist. Found in Russia's Ural Mountains, the Dashka stone is one of the strangest artifacts ever discovered. Weighing over a ton, this massive slab of stone appears to contain a highly detailed three-dimensional map, etched with symbols, carved with topographical precision, and displaying features that match the Ural region exactly. The problem? Geological tests suggest the stone could be 120 million years old. How is that possible? Humans, at least as we know them, weren't even supposed to exist back then, and yet the carvings seem intentional. Rivers, valleys, even an intricate system of artificial channels appear on its surface. Some experts argue that it must be a natural formation, the result of erosion. But others believe it could be evidence of an ancient civilization that predated all known history, one advanced enough to create maps with an accuracy that rivals modern satellite imaging. And then there's the biggest question: who made it? If this is a remnant of an advanced prehistoric society, where did they go? Some theorists believe we may have inherited a world already shaped by a forgotten race, their traces erased by time, their greatest achievements buried beneath the earth. Could it be that our past is far older and far stranger than we've ever imagined? Hidden in the rocky terrain of the Golan Heights, a mysterious formation lies forgotten by time. Rujim el-Hiri, an enormous megalithic structure made of more than 40,000 basalt stones, stretches across the landscape in concentric circles, with a massive burial chamber at its center. Its design has earned it the name the Stonehenge of the Middle East. But unlike Stonehenge, this site remains almost entirely unexplored, its origins and purpose still a mystery. Archaeologists estimate it was built around 5,000 years ago, yet there are no written records, no known builders, and no explanation for its intricate design. Some researchers believe it was an ancient astronomical observatory, its stones aligning with solstices and equinoxes. Others suggest it was a burial site for an unknown civilization. But the oddest theory? Some believe Rujum El Hiri is a prehistoric energy site, meant to harness or manipulate unknown forces. Then there's the burial chamber at the center. Unlike typical tombs, this chamber had no significant artifacts, no clear indication of who, if anyone, was buried there. Could it have been built for something other than human use? Some local legends speak of giants or supernatural beings that once roamed this region. Could Rujum El Hiri be connected to an ancient race long erased from history? If so, where else might these lost civilizations have left their mark? The answer, some believe, lies deep beneath our feet. Across Europe, an underground world has been uncovered, one that shouldn't exist. Beneath the rolling hills, dense forests, and ancient ruins of Europe, archaeologists have uncovered something bizarre, a vast network of underground tunnels, some stretching for hundreds of miles. These tunnels, found from Scotland to Turkey, connect regions that should have had no way of communicating thousands of years ago. Even stranger, some tunnels are so narrow that a human can barely squeeze through, while others open into massive underground chambers, as if designed for something, or someone, unknown. Who built them, and why? Some theories suggest they were escape routes during times of war, but that doesn't explain why they were so meticulously carved, often with smooth walls and precise turns. Others propose they were used for trade, linking civilizations long before recorded history suggests it was possible. Then there's the more controversial theory, that these tunnels are remnants of a lost prehistoric civilization, one that understood engineering in ways we still don't fully grasp. The biggest mystery, however, is how these tunnels remained hidden for so long. Some have no known entrances, only discovered through modern scanning technology. What else could be lurking beneath Europe's soil? Could there be entire underground cities waiting to be uncovered? And if these tunnels really are tens of thousands of years old, then what does that say about the people who built them? The deeper we dig, the more we find, but the truth may be buried even further down. Deep within the caves of Altamira in Spain, archaeologists uncovered something that defied expectations. Stunning, lifelike paintings of bison, created with a level of realism and depth that shouldn't have been possible for prehistoric people. Dating back at least 20,000 years, these images aren't crude stick figures or basic shapes. They are detailed, shaded, and anatomically precise, as if painted by an artist trained in modern techniques. What's more baffling is the method used. The painters of Altamira mastered three-dimensional perspective, using the cave's natural contours to give the animals movement and realism. They blended colors, shading, and highlights, techniques that wouldn't officially appear in art for tens of thousands of years. How did Stone Age people, supposedly primitive hunters, develop such advanced artistic skills? For years, experts refused to believe the paintings were real, dismissing them as forgeries. But when later discoveries confirmed their authenticity, new questions arose. Could these paintings be evidence of a lost, sophisticated culture, one capable of advanced thinking and artistic mastery far earlier than expected? Some suggest they might be remnants of a forgotten civilization, one whose knowledge was lost, leaving only these stunning artworks behind. And it's not just in Europe. Across the world, other strange remnants hint at ancient builders whose origins remain unknown. In New Zealand, a massive stone wall has baffled researchers for years, one that doesn't seem to match any known local culture. In the dense forests of New Zealand's North Island, an ancient structure lies hidden, a wall made of perfectly cut, stacked stone blocks, resembling something out of South America or even Egypt. But here's the problem. No known civilization in New Zealand's history ever built with stone on this scale. The Maori, the indigenous people of the region, did not construct massive stone walls, nor did they have the tools to cut stone with such precision. The Kaimanawa Wall, as it's called, has sparked one of the biggest historical debates in the Pacific. Some geologists claim it's nothing more than a natural rock formation, fractured over time, but others aren't so sure. The clean-cut edges, uniform spacing, and geometric alignment suggest human hands were involved. If that's true, then who built it? And when? One theory suggests that a lost civilization existed in New Zealand before the Maori arrived, a people who possessed advanced engineering skills long forgotten by history. Some even link the structure to the ancient Lemurian myth, a supposed lost land in the Pacific. While skeptics dismiss this idea, the mystery remains. If the Kaimanawa Wall is artificial, it rewrites the history of human migration and settlement in the Pacific. Could it be that New Zealand once harbored an unknown civilization, one whose legacy was buried, both by time and by those who wish to keep history neat and simple? Hidden in the cliffs of Maharashtra, India, the Ajanta caves are one of the greatest architectural feats of the ancient world. Carved directly into solid rock, these 34 cave temples weren't built in the traditional sense. They were excavated, sculpted, and hollowed out of a sheer basalt cliff face. The precision and scale of the work are staggering. Every column, doorway, and intricate carving was made without modern tools, raising a question that no one has truly answered. How did ancient builders achieve such perfection using only primitive chisels? Even stranger, these caves feature enormous stone-cut halls with high ceilings, grand staircases, and intricately detailed sculptures that look like they were built piece by piece, but they weren't. Everything is carved from one continuous rock formation, meaning a single mistake could have ruined the entire structure. This level of engineering seems almost impossible for the 5th century BCE, when historians claim these caves were created. Some researchers speculate that the builders possessed advanced techniques for cutting and shaping stone, knowledge that was lost over time. And then, there's the artwork. The walls are covered with vibrant frescoes depicting figures so refined that some believe they resemble Renaissance-style realism, despite being thousands of years older. Could these caves be remnants of a civilization with far greater artistic and architectural knowledge than we recognize? Some theories even suggest that they may have been created with forgotten vibrational or sonic technology, rather than just manual labor. In the rolling green hills of Ireland, an ancient structure predating Stonehenge and even the Great Pyramid sits shrouded in mystery. Newgrange, a massive 5,200-year-old megalithic tomb, was built with a level of engineering that shouldn't have been possible for Neolithic builders. The site consists of a huge circular mound, covering an underground chamber made from massive stones, some weighing dozens of tons. But the real mystery lies in its astronomical alignment. Once a year, on the winter solstice, something extraordinary happens. As the sun rises, a beam of light perfectly enters the narrow passage, illuminating the inner chamber in a golden glow. This event lasts for only 17 minutes before fading back into darkness. The precision of this alignment suggests that whoever built Newgrange understood complex astronomy and engineering principles far beyond what was thought possible for that era. How did Neolithic people with supposedly simple tools achieve such an intricate design? There's another mystery. Carved into the entrance stones are spirals, geometric symbols, and strange markings that no one has been able to decode. Some researchers believe they could be an ancient language, while others suggest they may represent a lost form of knowledge, perhaps a forgotten way of tracking celestial events or even an early form of sacred mathematics. Scattered across the misty landscapes of Laos, thousands of massive stone jars sit abandoned, their purpose unknown. Some weigh over 13 tons and stand over 10 feet tall, yet no one knows who built them, how they were moved, or what they were used for. Dating back at least 2,500 years, these jars are part of what's now called the Plain of Jars, a sprawling site covering miles of land, filled with these bizarre artifacts. Local legends say the jars were made by giants, who used them to brew rice wine after battle. But archaeologists suggest a different theory, that they were used in burial rituals, with human remains found inside some of them. However, this only deepens the mystery. If they were tombs, why were they made so large, so heavy, and spread across such vast distances? The effort to carve, transport, and place these enormous jars would have required an advanced understanding of logistics and engineering. Another unanswered question is where the stone came from. Some jars appear to be made from materials that don't match the surrounding landscape, suggesting they were moved from great distances. How? No tools have been found, no inscriptions explaining their origins, and no records left behind by the civilization that created them. One thing is certain, whether buried beneath the earth, hidden in plain sight, or left behind in mysterious carvings, the past still holds secrets we have yet to understand. In a museum storage room in Washington, D.C., sits one of the strangest and least talked about ancient discoveries ever found, a 1,200-year-old device from Peru that looks shockingly like a telephone. It wasn't made of plastic or wires, of course, it's made from gourds, string, and a hollowed-out tube. But its structure and function? Practically the same as a modern string phone. Two receiver-like ends connected by a long, taut cord. And here's the mind-blowing part. It actually worked. This incredible artifact came from the Chimu civilization, which ruled along the northern coast of Peru long before the rise of the Inca Empire. And the fact that this thing exists, fully formed, engineered with purpose, has left experts speechless. Why would an ancient society create something so close to a communication device that wouldn't officially appear until over 1,000 years later? Some researchers believe it was used in palaces or temples, places where communication needed to happen across thick walls or long corridors. It wasn't a toy, it wasn't random, it looks intentional, made for private conversation, possibly even for rituals or controlling messages between rulers and their inner circle. Of course, there are those who push the mystery even further. Theories have popped up that maybe the Chimu didn't invent the device alone. Could it have been passed down knowledge from an earlier civilization lost to history? Or something even stranger? Some suggest influence from advanced cultures that visited from far away or even off-world. Sounds wild, but the artifact is real. It's physical. It exists. And yet, barely anyone knows about it. It's not featured in documentaries or school books. It's just sitting there, buried in the catalog of ancient tech no one can explain. The more you look at it, the more questions pile up. How many other inventions from the ancient world were dismissed as toys or decorations, when they might have been much more? If this telephone-like object made it through time, what didn't? Deep in the dusty plains of modern-day Pakistan lies a city that shouldn't exist, at least not with the level of planning and infrastructure it had over 4,000 years ago. Mohenjo-Daro was part of the ancient Indus Valley civilization, and it boasted a grid system, advanced sewage lines and multi-story buildings long before anyone else thought that was possible. But it's not just the engineering that's baffling. It's how the city met its end. When archaeologists first began excavating the site in the 1920s, they were struck by a strange pattern. Many of the skeletal remains were found lying in the streets, some holding hands, as if something sudden and terrifying had wiped them out. Even weirder, the ruins showed signs of extreme heat. Bricks had been melted. The sand had turned into glass. That kind of heat isn't easy to explain. It would take something intense, far beyond fire. This led to one of the most controversial and fascinating theories in ancient archaeology, that Mohenjo-Daro may have been destroyed by some kind of advanced energy, possibly even nuclear level. Of course, there's no proof of weapons or reactors, but the damage resembles what we've seen in places hit by atomic blasts. Mainstream scholars reject this theory, yet the heat signatures and glassy surfaces remain. Something powerful happened there, something we still don't understand, and it challenges the idea that ancient people were only working with stone tools and fire pits. Maybe, just maybe they had help, or knowledge that got lost forever. Thousands of miles from the heat of Mohenjo-Daro, in the frozen wilderness of Siberia, another mystery lay buried beneath the ice. In a remote forested region called Zeleny Yar, archaeologists uncovered a chilling find, literally. A group of mummies wrapped in copper sheets buried in the permafrost, some still wearing masks. Their bodies were preserved so well that their hair and eyelashes were intact. But who they were remains a total mystery. These weren't your typical Arctic nomads. The burial customs were unusual, the clothing was foreign, and the level of preservation was something scientists didn't expect from a culture dating back to the 12th or 13th century. One mummy, possibly a child, was encased in a cocoon of fur, bark, and copper, materials believed to have antimicrobial properties, which may have been used intentionally to halt decomposition. That alone shows a shocking level of medical or ritual knowledge. But here's where things get even stranger. DNA analysis has suggested links to ancient Persian or Turkic groups, meaning these people might have traveled thousands of miles, or were part of a forgotten migration. There are no written records, no legends, no explanations, just the frozen dead, perfectly preserved, as if waiting to tell a story no one understands yet. What connects a scorched city in South Asia with a frozen burial site in Siberia? Two civilizations separated by space and culture, both leaving behind evidence that something much bigger was going on in the ancient world than we've been taught. Across the ancient Roman Empire, structures like aqueducts, harbors, and temples have stood for over 2,000 years, enduring earthquakes, saltwater, and time itself. The Colosseum? Still there. Roman seawalls? Still holding back the tide. But modern concrete? It cracks and crumbles within decades. So, what's going on? The secret lies in the Roman recipe, one that modern science is only beginning to understand. Researchers discovered that Roman concrete isn't just tough, it's self-healing. Under a microscope, it contains tiny white minerals called lime clasts that react with water, recrystallizing and sealing cracks. In other words, the material repairs itself over time. And that's something our high-tech cement still can't reliably do. Some experts believe the ancient builders were deliberately engineering this effect. Others think they stumbled on it by chance. Either way, the knowledge vanished after the empire fell, which raises the question, how much ancient science have we lost? And if the Romans had self-healing concrete 2,000 years ago, what else did they figure out that we've forgotten or ignored? It's a reminder that progress isn't always a straight line. Sometimes the past hides solutions we're still struggling to rediscover, and the fact that their concrete still holds up today, that's more than impressive. It's borderline unbelievable. They've been found in jungles, passed between collectors and displayed in museums, perfectly carved skulls made from single blocks of quartz crystal. No tool marks, no visible seams, and nobody really knows where they came from. These are the infamous crystal skulls, often linked to Mesoamerican civilizations like the Maya or Aztecs. But the carvings don't match local styles. And the material? Some of it doesn't even come from the region. There are around a dozen of these skulls known today. The most famous one, the Mitchell-Hedges skull, is eerily lifelike, with a detachable jaw and an uncanny ability to reflect light through its eye sockets. Some say it was found in a Mayan temple. Others claim it mysteriously appeared during an excavation. No one can agree. Over the years, these skulls have been tied to wild theories, healing powers, ancient computers, even messages from extraterrestrials. Some believe they store knowledge from a lost civilization, maybe even Atlantis. Scientists who examine them under electron microscopes say the precision is almost impossible for pre-Columbian tools. Yet skeptics argue they were made in the 19th century using modern abrasives. So what's the truth? Are they brilliant modern fakes, or artifacts from a forgotten chapter of human history? Either way, the mystery remains unsolved, and the deeper you look, the stranger it gets. High in the mountains of South Africa, carved deep into ancient granite, is something that shouldn't exist, a massive human-like footprint, over 4 feet long, embedded in solid rock. It's not just an impression, it has toes, shape, and detail, and the rock it's in, estimated to be over 200 million years old. Locals call it the footprint of God, but no one has provided a clear scientific explanation. How could a footprint, any footprint, exist in rock that formed long before humans were even around? Mainstream geologists say it's a natural erosion pattern, but that doesn't explain the uncanny human-like shape. The toes are aligned, the heel is angled. It looks like something, just stepped into molten stone. And this isn't the only one. Similar giant prints have been found in Sri Lanka, Turkey, and even the US. Most are written off as coincidences. But when multiple sites across the world show the same strange impressions, it's hard not to wonder, what if these are the remnants of a time we've forgotten? Some fringe researchers believe they're proof of ancient giants, beings mentioned in myths across cultures. Others suggest unknown species or even time anomalies. Whatever the truth is, these footprints refuse to be explained away easily. They stay there, frozen in stone, daring us to explain how they got there, and who left them. Tucked away in a Venice library, a curious old map quietly challenges everything we thought we knew about world exploration. Known as the Zhou map, it was allegedly copied from Chinese originals dating back to the early 1400s. What's so strange? It shows the entire world, North and South America included, decades before Columbus ever set sail. According to some researchers, the map might be linked to Admiral Zheng He, the legendary Chinese navigator who commanded massive fleets that traveled far beyond Asia. The idea is that the Chinese had explored the globe and charted it long before the Age of Discovery even began in Europe. The implications are huge. If this map is authentic, it means Columbus didn't discover the New World, he followed directions. Of course, critics argue the map is a much later creation or even a forgery, but others point to its stunning geographical accuracy. It shows continents that weren't even supposed to exist in the 15th century. Some believe copies of it, or knowledge from it, somehow reached European explorers through trade routes or stolen archives. Could it be that China, not Europe, led the first wave of global exploration? The mystery of the Zhou map is still unfolding. But if it proves real, it would flip the story of human exploration upside down, and force a complete rewrite of who really discovered what, and when. In China's Zhejiang province, farmers were draining a pond in 1992 when they stumbled upon something unbelievable: an enormous man-made cave hidden beneath the water. As they dug further, they found not just one, but 24 massive underground chambers. Each one carved by hand, with symmetrical walls, straight lines, polished surfaces, and decorative chisel marks. But here's the most shocking part. There's absolutely no historical record of them being built. No writings, no mentions in ancient texts, no tools left behind. These caves are massive, some over 100 feet tall, and were carved out of solid sandstone. Experts estimate that removing that much rock would have taken hundreds of people working for years. Yet there's complete silence in historical records, as if the builders vanished, or never existed at all. No one knows what they were for. Storage, temples, a military base. Some even suggest the caves might have been built to survive something, like a cataclysm. The precision, symmetry, and scale have led some theorists to wonder if the caves were designed with advanced knowledge. Could they be the remnants of a forgotten civilization? Despite all the research, the Longyu Caves remain one of the world's biggest archaeological riddles. They weren't natural. They weren't random. Someone built them. But who, why, and how? That part's still a complete mystery. High in the misty mountains of southern Ecuador, the province of Loja holds one of the strangest archaeological mysteries in South America. For decades, locals have told stories of ancient giants, being so tall their bones had to be carried in carts. Most chalked it up to folklore, until real discoveries began surfacing. In the 1960s, researchers in a cave system near the Ecuador-Peru border uncovered a set of bones that didn't match normal human proportions. A massive femur, a partial skull, and several rib fragments, too large to come from any known native animal. When scaled, the remains suggested a human-like figure well over 7 feet tall. These weren't fantasy relics. They were physically examined, documented, and photographed, yet for reasons still unclear, they were quietly removed from public view. Some scientists believe the remains could be explained by rare cases of gigantism, or even extinct human relatives. But others point to ancient legends that span across the region, stories of towering people who came before the modern civilizations. Tribes in the area still speak of them with respect and caution. They also say that archaeologists sometimes find these colossal giants during excavations but do not inform the public about it. In Loja, the line between myth and history feels very, very thin. Tucked away in Peru's Supe Valley, surrounded by desert and silence, lies one of the oldest cities ever discovered, Caral. This place rewrites history simply by existing. Radiocarbon dating puts it at nearly 5,000 years old, and some evidence even suggests the site could date back closer to 10,000 years. That's older than the Egyptian pyramids and Stonehenge. But here's what makes it even more fascinating. It was a fully developed city. Not just huts or simple dwellings, but pyramids, plazas, residential areas, and a complex irrigation system. Caral had no walls, no weapons, and no signs of warfare. That alone sets it apart. This was a peaceful civilization that thrived through trade, agriculture, and advanced architecture. Massive pyramid-like structures were made of stone and earth, carefully positioned in alignment with astronomical events. Some structures had built-in acoustic designs that allowed voices to carry clearly from one platform to another. It's an ancient form of sound engineering that researchers still don't fully understand. No written language has been uncovered there, but knotted strings known as quipu, used for record-keeping, suggest Caral might have had a system of communication that predates writing. The more archaeologists dig, the more questions emerge. Who taught these people how to build with such precision? Why did their knowledge seem to vanish so completely? Caral wasn't just a city, it was a civilization that existed so far back. It challenges the timeline of everything we thought we knew about human development in the Americas, and maybe the world. In the riverbed of the Taunton River in Massachusetts lies a 40-ton boulder covered in strange carvings that have confused and fascinated researchers for centuries. This is Dighton rock, and no one can agree on who made the symbols, or what they mean. Some say they're Native American markings, others believe they came from Norse explorers. There are even claims they were left behind by the Phoenicians or travelers from across the ocean long before Columbus. The rock has hundreds of symbols: lines, arrows, humanoid shapes, spirals, and what look like runes or ancient alphabets. The style doesn't match any single known writing system. That's part of what makes it so mysterious. Over the years, the theories have only multiplied. Some believe the carvings represent a lost language. Others think it's a coded message that hasn't been cracked. There's even speculation about early visitors from Asia, or civilizations that left no other trace behind. Despite being studied for over 300 years, there's no clear answer. The rock was moved to a small museum to protect it from erosion, but the mystery remains. Why would someone carve a message into a massive stone in the middle of a river? Was it a territorial marker, a celestial calendar, or something left behind to confuse us thousands of years later? One thing's certain: Dighton Rock doesn't fit neatly into any known chapter of American history. It's a clue from the past that refuses to give up its meaning. All across the island of Sardinia, ancient stone structures stretch out beneath the sun, some over 100 feet long, with entrances large enough for someone twice the size of an average human to walk through. Locals call them tombe dei giganti, tombs of the giants. And they've been at the center of mystery and speculation for generations. Archaeologists link these megalithic tombs to the Nuragic civilization, which flourished on the island over 3,000 years ago. But here's where things get strange. According to regional folklore, the tombs were not symbolic. They were built for actual giants. Stories tell of beings with enormous strength who once roamed the island, helping construct stone fortresses and strange towers still standing today. And over the years, residents have claimed to have seen or even uncovered massive skeletal remains, though most were reportedly whisked away by authorities or quietly reburied. No confirmed giant skeletons remain on public display, but the scale and layout of the tombs continue to raise questions. Why would normal-sized humans build burial sites so huge? And why do so many of these structures line up with key astronomical points? Equinoxes, solstices, and lunar events? It's led some to wonder if these tombs served multiple purposes, maybe as ceremonial sites, maybe even as markers for celestial watchers. Or maybe they really did house the remains of a forgotten race whose story is only partially buried. Just outside Inverness, in the quiet moors of Scotland, stand the Clava cairns, ancient stone burial mounds older than the pyramids. At first glance they look like simple piles of rocks, but look closer, and you'll notice something eerie. Each of these tombs is aligned perfectly with the setting sun on the winter solstice. Light enters through a narrow passage, illuminating the inner chamber with an orange glow that lasts only minutes. It's a moment frozen in time, and no one knows how the builders pulled it off over 4,000 years ago. There are standing stones scattered around the cairns, each placed with precision. Some researchers believe the layout formed part of a sacred calendar. Others suggest it could have been used for ritual ceremonies that timed life with the stars. And then there are those who go further, claiming the Clava cairns weren't just burial sites. They were portals, gateways between worlds opened by light, sound, or movement of the heavens. It's no wonder this place has inspired countless myths and even scenes in time travel stories. The setting, the stillness, and the way the site reacts to celestial events. It feels intentional, designed for something more than memory. In a private archive in Japan, researchers uncovered a mysterious mummified figure, part human, part fish. Known as a mermaid mummy, it had the torso of a small woman and the tail of a fish, perfectly preserved in a wooden box. Legends say it brought fortune, or disaster. But here's what's strange. Scans show real bone structure, human-like teeth, and internal organs. Some experts believe it's a ritual object. Others think it could be evidence of a now extinct species we were never meant to find. Whatever it is, no one's been able to explain it. In 1980, buried beneath layers of sediment in Upper Egypt, archaeologists uncovered a human skeleton unlike anything they'd seen before. Dated to around 33,000 years ago, the Nazlet-Khader remains had a mix of traits that didn't add up. The skeleton was clearly Homo sapiens, but with unusually robust bones, a primitive-looking skull, and features more commonly found in older human ancestors. It was as if two different species had been merged into one body. Some researchers believe it's proof of an unknown population that once roamed northern Africa, possibly interbreeding with early Homo sapiens. Others think it could be a genetic throwback. But here's what makes this discovery really strange. It suggests that modern humans, as we know them, may not have developed along a neat timeline. There could have been other intelligent groups living at the same time, ones that didn't survive, or were absorbed into our lineage. If so, who were they and why did they vanish? Discovered near modern-day Baghdad in the 1930s, a clay jar with a copper cylinder and iron rod inside was unlike anything from the surrounding ruins. When reconstructed, it looked suspiciously like a simple galvanic cell, a battery. Yes, a 2,000-year-old power source. This Baghdad battery, as it's now called, could produce a tiny electrical charge when filled with vinegar or lemon juice. But what was it used for? There are no wires, no machines. Some suggest it may have been used for electroplating, coating objects in thin layers of metal. Others think it might have been part of early medical or ritual practices. Mainstream archaeology says it's unlikely the people of the time fully understood electricity, but the components are there. And the fact that several similar jars were found in the same region hints that someone knew what they were doing. Whether it was a scientific tool or a ritual item with electrical effects, this battery forces us to ask, what else did ancient civilizations know that we've overlooked? In 1933, deep within a burial site in Mexico, archaeologists made a discovery that defied logic. A small terracotta head, clearly of Roman origin, buried beneath pre-Columbian layers. Found in Tecaxic, Calixtlahuaca, the object had a beard, European facial features, and a style never seen in ancient Mesoamerican art. Tests confirmed the burial context was authentic, predating Columbus by centuries. That leaves two options. Either the head somehow got there through unknown contact long before European exploration, or something about the timeline is completely off. Some scholars claim it's a case of contamination, maybe someone dropped the artifact during excavation. But others believe it's evidence of trans-oceanic contact between the old world and the new long before 1492. If that's true, it opens the door to a much more connected ancient world than we've ever imagined. Scattered across Europe, from rivers in Germany to Viking graves in Scandinavia, archaeologists have uncovered swords so advanced they seem completely out of place in history. Etched into the blades is a single word: Ulfbert. These weren't ceremonial props, they were real weapons, deadly, durable, and built with a level of metalwork that wouldn't reappear until the Industrial Age. The secret lies in the steel. Ulfbert swords were made with crucible steel, metal so pure and carbon-rich that it could withstand blows other swords would shatter under. It wasn't supposed to exist in Europe at the time. The process to create it involves precise heat control and advanced materials. Yet somehow a small group of medieval blacksmiths had cracked the code. No one knows exactly how. Some believe the technique came through secret trade with the Middle East. Others think a lost master blacksmith passed down the recipe before it vanished. There are even theories that these swords were made using forgotten knowledge, possibly older than the Viking Age itself. Out of the thousands of swords found from that era, only a few dozen carry the Ulfbert mark. They weren't for common warriors, these were elite tools, possibly even sacred. And they raise a bigger question: how often has human technology surged forward, only to disappear and be rediscovered centuries later? That's about it. Which discovery surprised you the most? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.